Nation's #1 DJ, DJ Rockwell.
Yo, this is Apocalypse, the lyrical warner, hip-hop revelator. And you rockin' with the nation's #1 DJ, DJ Rockwell, you understand me?
Ladies and gentlemen, brothers and sisters, what's good? In the place to be one more time is your brother, DJ Rockwell. So glad that you are with us. I'm talking about you, and you. Thank you for tuning in one more time to your brother, the nation's #1 DJ. You are tuned into the Rockwell Radio Show. As we say every time around this time, we need everybody to go ahead and do the 3 steps of the Rockwell Radio Show, and that is to hit the like and share button, tag somebody, and of course, if you're new here, subscribe to the Rockwell Radio Show today. Man, what a show we got lined up. Dave. Oh, I thought you was coming on camera and say something, Dave. Matter of fact, come on camera for a second, Dave.
Yes, I was.
Everybody knows the producer, Big Dave C. He don't like to come on camera very much, but every now and then I bring him on just so he can say something. Dave, you want to say something to the people real quick before we get started?
I just want to express my gratitude and thanks to the people for particularly what you just shared with me off camera. This weekend marks, I don't want to say it. Well, go ahead and say it. What is this weekend, man? What is it that we have just achieved?
Today, this broadcast that you're watching right now represents our 3rd anniversary of the Rockwell Radio Show.
That's right. We're going to get it on.
For 3 years, you have rocked with us. You have hung out with us. You have subscribed. You've hit the like and share button tens of thousands of times. And because of you, we're giving the people something brand new. And I couldn't do it without the producer of the show, Big Dave C. Thank you, soldier.
Thank you, sir.
Let's go to work. Now, I need to thank a few people. And before we get into that, as you all share the show, shout out to Denver, Colorado. As we share the show and you come on in the room, we want you to go ahead and let us know where you're watching from. What city is in the building with us tonight? Where y'all from? Where y'all viewing the show at? And if you're new here, welcome. You might be wondering, man, what's the Rockwell Radio Show all about? If you're new here, what the Rockwell Radio Show is all about. It's my brother, Big Dave, see who you just saw. Actually, blood brothers, by the way, who accepted Islam together the same year. And we grew up in the golden age of hip hop together. The 2 loves of our lives. One thing actually saved our lives. The teachings of the most honorable Elijah Muhammad through his national representative and Messiah in our midst, the Honorable Mr. Louis Farrakhan. Saved our life after the Million Man March. But it was before that, it was the hip hop, the culture, the music, the lifestyle that shaped our lives. We decided, why not take these 2 things and give the people something that can move them forward using the most powerful culture in the world with the most powerful teaching in the world. New Orleans in the house. I see Montgomery, Alabama in the house. Keep it coming, Big Dave, as we talk to the people. And speaking of Montgomery, Alabama, we are here to talk about that magnificent event that happened on August 5th. And even though it was 3 weeks ago, it's worthy of covering again today. And in a minute, we're going to tell you why. And you know how we tend to go, you know, black folk, it'll be hot with us 1 minute and we throw it out, we on to the next thing. Social media makes things go so fast. But we had to pause and deal with this. We had to stop and re-examine this event. Why? Because it brought Black America together on one page. Even if it was just for a day, the world stopped to notice that we can come together. It had an impact that was so far and so wide, Dave, the world stopped and watched this video. And as fate would have it, Big Dave, it ended up being on the cover of The Final Call this week. Can you put that picture up of the greatest newspaper, Big Dave? The cover of The Final Call, Momentum After Montgomery. And that's what we're here to talk about, is what next? Why did Black people celebrate what was known as the Montgomery Brawl? Our guest tonight is the writer of that wonderful article. Sister Nisa Islam is in the house. We'll see her in just a second. Also in the house, this is the man of the hour. He's got the nation on his back, and we're celebrating him from coast to coast because he took the flag of Islam and planted it firmly in the ground of Montgomery, Alabama recently. We're talking about Minister Farrakhan's new representative in the city of Montgomery, Alabama. Minister Shakir Muhammad is with us tonight. We're going to hear from him tonight. You saw all the memes. You saw all the laughter. We're going to talk about that just a little bit too, but there's a serious aspect. So again, before we start getting into it, Dave, we're going to ask the people one more time to observe the 3 steps. The 3 steps, again, come on and do it. Everybody hit that like and share button. Everybody tag somebody. And of course, last but not least, no matter where you're watching, go ahead and subscribe. And again, shout out to our new family, the Closing the Gap broadcast listeners and network. Glad to be a part of that wonderful network. Now, I want to look at, Dave, we saw what happened. There's no need to play the video. You all saw it. But I do want to look at some of the brawl shots. Look at brawl shot number 1 real quick. We see here the brother taking an L. He was taking an L, y'all. We see the terrorist all on his back. We see the knee to the face. He was taking some shots. And then we saw the infamous hat throw. The Wu-Tang call, however they do it, the Wu-Tang call went out. He threw the hat, and then we saw what happens in slide number 2. We saw the mighty chair swing happen right there. So it was these shots and more. The chair became so famous, the people took a pose with the chair. Look at this, the shot of the people. They done got together, Dave, and they done held the chair up like it's a trophy. I mean, we're just going really quickly what happened with this here. Now we get into the funny stuff. The memes had us laughing all over the internet. Look at meme number 1. We look at it. So look at meme number 2. Let's keep going. If you want earrings in the size of a folding chair, you can now do that for only $7.99. And last but not least, the number 3, Dave. Our ancestors smiled upon us on that day. So we laughed. But the reason of this show tonight is because we also shed tears. There were people all over the country that looked and just had a moment of pride like they've never had before. Some people looked and tears strolled down their cheek saying, look at us, we can fight back. So tonight, let's introduce our guests who are going to help us explore and unravel why that historic moment on August 5th in Montgomery, Alabama touched our laughter, but it also touched our souls. We're going to welcome first a sister who really needs no introduction throughout the Nation of Islam. She is the founder of the Ramadan Prayer Line. She is the author of this week's current Final Call news story, and a wonderful sister and a treasure to our nation. Please welcome my sister and yours, Sister Nisa Islam Muhammad. Are you muted, sister? Can we hear you?
Yeah, I just took myself off mute. Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam. There she is, ladies and gentlemen. There she is. Absolutely wonderful piece that you wrote. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
So, I was really intrigued by the event. I watched the videos over and over again, and I was just really intrigued to find out, why were Black people so happy about this? That's one of the questions I really wanted to answer. But also, what was the backstory of what happened that we didn't see? The videos caught a lot, but what are some of the things that happened that we didn't see? And, and just what to analyze, why was this so significant? Why did people jump for joy? Why were people like, so yes, get them, just so happy just so happy about it.
Absolutely. And we're going to touch all of the above points tonight, inshallah. Big Dave, let us get ready to welcome as our second guest, a brother that I could not be more proud of, who, as I mentioned in the introduction, has taken our national flag and slammed it in the ground in Montgomery, Alabama. How significant that while all of this is going on, just beneath the scene of all of that, the culture of Islam is being developed and nurtured right there by a brother who is now representing the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan and what is now the Nation of Islam's newest mosque, Muhammad Mosque number 101. Please welcome our brother, Student Minister Shakir Muhammad.
Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam, sir.
Praise be to Allah. How's the family?
Oh, brother, better now that we got 101 on board.
That's right. All praise due to Allah. We are thankful to Allah for giving us the fortitude and the drive to keep going by His grace and permission. We thank the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan for thinking enough of himself and his God to stand up, that we may be able to stand up. So we are honored and we are thankful, and we're going to keep persevering by Allah's grace and permission. Thank you for having us tonight. Thank you, Sister Nisa, for being with us tonight. Thank you, brother, for being a great host. And congratulations. Happy anniversary.
3 years. 3 years on the air. Dave, I'm going to tell the secret. I'm going to tell the secret real fast. There it is. That's the quote of all quotes. Islam is not the problem. Islam is the solution, the answer. Here's a secret. Big Dave and I 3 years ago set out to do something that we thought there was a void. Because we come from the hip hop generation, we didn't think there was anybody that was speaking to the space that covered these two things, at least in a way that was satisfying to he and I. And we said, why not we take these two things and give them into the world that's helpful? And here we are 3 years later. But the funny thing is, this is episode number 90. 90 episodes. And we said, well, what if we just set out to do 100 and we'll stop? But the idea was to keep on going and finish the thing out. Start with 100 and see if we can get through 100. This is 90 episodes later. We're still here. And I think we might go ahead and supersede that 100.
That's right. That's right. At least 101.
Right. Right. And I also, before we continue, I want to send a super salute to the believers behind you that stood with you, that helped you plant that flag in Montgomery, Alabama. This salute is for them. So let's get to work. We're already 14 minutes into the show. I want to start with a quote from the final call that our dear sister wrote. They let's show that excerpt that our sister wrote. You quoted a sister that happens to be here from Atlanta, matter of fact, and I hope I'm saying her name accurately. Dr. Mawata Kari, perhaps?
Yep, and it's a he.
It's a she. He, pardon me. Awesome.
Right.
Okay. He adds, it represented it being what happened in Montgomery. It represented our resistance to the collective trauma that we experienced. He said, and he called it persistent, enslaving, systemic trauma or pest. The trauma of the enslavement experience exacerbated by the collective process of the 45th president's antics, the January 6th phenomenon, coming on the heels of George Floyd, created a condition by which this element of resistance has risen. We were enamored with the fight back to white racist terrorism, and there was a victory in that. That was a cathartic release for Black folks. He almost perfectly summarized the thought, the spirit, the why. I would like for both of you to add to that. What do you think also fed the festive environment that Black people experienced all across the country after August 5th?
So one of the things that I include in this story, as I introduce this story, I talk about some major fights that have happened in Black America. You know, Muhammad Ali v. Frazier, 1, 2, and 3. You know, Jack Johnson's fight. And just major fights where Black people felt like the participants were fighting for their people as opposed to just fighting in an individual sport. And when these people won, it was a victory for Black people. And I think part of what was such a relief and a joy for Black people is that number one, we're tired of being beat down by white people. We hear over and over again about the oppression of Black people, the police officers that kill us. We're just tired. And, it just allowed us to say, you know what, not today. We are fighting back. And it was the fight back was in such a humongous exposure. So that whatever they were doing, we had somebody coming behind. The young guy who swam across the river.
Come on now.
People just said, not today.
Right.
We're going to do something different. Not today.
Brother Minister?
Yes, sir. Thank you. Wonderful, Sister Nisa. Also, I'd like to add that you also saw the fulfillment of prophecy. Where Black folk fit in this is that now being the recipient of God's messenger, God's Messiah, and God's Christ, it now puts us in a responsible position to understand our role, not only our role, but our success that we have in front of us. So when we saw all the brothers and sisters, the entertainers and whatnot, applauding this situation, that was years of pent up frustration. No matter if you made millions, as Jay-Z said, still nigga. So that was pent up frustration being released all in that instance. And it gave Black folk a very beautiful look, if I may say that. It gave us the image that, in Montgomery, this was the birthplace of the civil rights. So the imagery of Black folk in the South have always been dogs biting us, hoes being sprayed on us, and taking the role of being the inferior and getting kicked around. This showed an image that the South is going to rise, and it's on its rise, as the most honorable Elijah Muhammad said, when the South rise, it's all over. So what
that's right.
It kicked in the ignition, so to speak, to let Black folk all over the world know that it is our time. You don't have to be afraid to stand up. And it showed that Black folk really love Black folk.
Say that. Come on. Let me give that a hand, big brother. I want to look at this from a media perspective for a second with a question to our sister, dear Nisa. Obviously, as I mentioned in the introduction, this now happened 3 weeks ago. And obviously, as people who are in media and journalism, we try to stay on top of things and keep things that are happening now in the face. And obviously, with the advent of social media, everything is now. So, was there any hesitation from the Final Cause part to make this a cover story?
No, I don't think so at all. I suggested this issue, this topic for a story, and Sister Starla said, I think this should be a cover. And there we have it. And she gave me some guidelines in terms of how she wanted me to write the story, and what she wanted to make sure that I include. And I went from there. I mean, I'm so thankful that I have some creativity and some freedom, creative liberties at the Final Call to start stories and do stories like I would tip like I like to do. Like it was the video scene around the world, and you had to really live on Mars if you didn't see this.
Absolutely.
So it's not a typical newsy kind of way of starting a story, but I like telling stories that are going to reach my reader in certain ways. I like to write so that I'm touching the reader. I want to touch the reader's heart. I want to touch the reader so that they have a better understanding of what is going on, so that I am creating what I like to call word pictures. So that by reading my story, you can form a picture in your mind about what I'm writing about.
Let's talk a bit about the city of Montgomery itself. As you both know, and I hope that my viewers know, that Montgomery is the seat, and some may even go as far as to say the birthplace of the civil rights movement. It is the birthplace of the 1955 bus boycott. Just to give people some background of the city,
Yes, sir.
tell us a bit about, and I'll start with Brother Minister. Tell us a bit about the climate of Montgomery, Alabama, with our people before Brawl and after Brawl.
Okay, let's go a little history. The actual brawl took place in the area where slaves, our brothers and sisters, were being sold, bought, and transported to Montgomery. Once you go through what is called the riverfront, there's a tunnel that you go through leading our brothers and sisters to what is called Commerce Street, and there's a fountain in the middle of downtown that is where black folk were sold at auction. All throughout that passage, you will see historical markers saying that slaves auction or slaves were sold here, so on and so forth. And Montgomery was at one time, I think, the second largest in domestic slave manufacturing. So the climate in Montgomery was, because a lot of times we don't control the media, so we really don't know what's going on in every city. So I thank Allah for the Final Call, because it's not bought and it's 100% black. So we can control the narrative and tell our story. So when our story is told from a Montgomery standpoint, black folk in Montgomery have always fought against the system. Now, I don't think that they haven't.
Come on now.
Just an incident that was shown around the world. But the sentiments of blacks, we were, it's always been segregated in Montgomery. It still is. Montgomery's been like that. But the black mindset in Montgomery, from a media standpoint, was that black folk killing black folk, we're not together. And we began to buy into that. And we didn't believe really that black folk were standing up to this incident occurred.
Right.
And it changed the climate that, hey man, we really ain't got that big of a problem. We've been looking at each other as the enemy.
Come on.
You know? And this incident that occurred, these people, this was not their first time, getting in this type of situation at the riverfront now.
Oh, really?
No, this is not the first time. So they had a mindset where they wanted to do whatever they wanted to do. But anyway, when they refused to leave, my question is, what would give the Caucasian the audacity to attack this brother? What was in his mind for him to think that he could do that?
And
he did it.
Yes, sir.
I guess not thinking any repercussion was going to come behind that. He was real wrong for that.
Let me give that a round of applause.
Praise be to Allah. But I want to say this now, and I'll be quiet.
Yes,
I thank Sister Nisa for writing the article, because this article is a turning point for the black mind in the world. because now our young folk have something that they can point to and say, we can fight together. I don't have to look at my brother or sister as the enemy. We do love each other, and we will stand with each other.
Say it.
So thank you, sister, for that.
Thank you. Thank you.
But before I go to my next question, let me share with you and my listening and watching audience this backstory to this episode real fast. Brother Minister Shakir was actually our initial and only thought for this conversation, since he was down there in the city and actually on the ground, boots on the ground in the city of Montgomery, Alabama. And just out of a sheer stroke of what if, as I read the cover story, I said, what if Sister Nisa Islam would join us for this conversation? And Dave said, be right back. And here our sister is here. And here she is. And I am blown away again by both of your presence. And who would further know that she would go on to quote you, Brother Minister, in this same story? I want to come back to you, Brother Minister, but I want to bounce back to my sister real fast before we go to break and talk about a key word I noticed in the piece. The doctor used the word cathartic. And you know, I'm from St. Louis. St. Louis Public School. We get along so with some of these words. But I had to go and look up the word cathartic. Cathartic is an adjective, which means providing psychological relief through the open expression of strong emotions, causing catharsis. So I had to look that word up and clear that word. So, and it led me to what we experienced in particularly in the South. So how can I phrase my question? What do you think is key to the South's rise with this event? Do you think this event opened a door to what we see as possible in reaching for our freedom?
Absolutely. I think in addition to thinking about what's possible, this story helped us to stand a little taller, chest out a little bigger. It helps us to have a sense of pride that we don't have to continue to be the ones at the bottom of a beatdown. Usually we're at the bottom of the pile. So we're getting stomped. The police are on top of us. The police are doing whatever, and we're always at the bottom of the heap, getting a beat down. Well, this showed us that we don't have to do that, because see, historically, history has kept away from us the slave rebellions. We don't know a lot about the slave rebellions that took place, even though they did happen. But history did not record them in the same way they recorded the Boston Tea Party, or they recorded the Revolutionary War or the Civil War. They didn't record those things because they did not want us to be emboldened by rebellion.
That's right.
And so for us to see that this is going to go down in history, this Montgomery Melee, Riverboat, Rumble, the Sweet Tea, Alabama,
That's
whatever.
That's right.
It's going to be remembered by the memes, through culture, by the names of the people. We will remember that riverboat captain and his standing up from the hat toss. He was like, you know what? Boom. We will remember all of these things because they have become now a part of our culture and our history that have opened the doors for you. You will see more people fighting back. You will see more people fighting back. And the other thing that's significant is that a lot of times when people see violence, they go the other way. People saw what was happening to George Floyd and they just recorded it. Thankfully, they recorded it, but nobody stepped in to kind of really intervene. But I'm pretty sure we will see more people come to the aid and rescue of Black people as a result of this experience.
True.
And my producer is telling me it's time to go to break. And I want to try to squeeze in one more question before we go to break. And by the way, if you're just joining us, welcome to the Rockwell Radio Show. My name is Brother Vaughn Muhammad, a.k.a. DJ Rockwell, the nation's #1 DJ, and you're tuning into the Rockwell Radio Show. Go ahead and hit that share button. Go ahead and hit that like button. Subscribe to us, join us, follow us. We're all over the internet, and we would love if you join us as well. In the opening, we playfully looked at the memes, and they were funny, of course. And I think there's something in relative to our catharsis, to put that word in use, with laughter and pain. And while there was a lot of comedy that Black Twitter pointed at, there was one meme in particular that I want to present that I thought was more than just funny, but actually it was a perfect summary of our pain. Watch this. Look at this one. It was this one. We've all known this picture painted by Ernie Barnes, originally in 1971. It would eventually be on to be used by Marvin Gaye on his album cover to I Want You. And in the 70s, of course, it was then used by the Norman Lear sitcom called Good Times. But now here we see in 2023, Black Twitter has put it to use yet once again.
Yeah.
But when you look at this art, you see obviously the chairs, but you see in the top, they renamed the banner the Alabama Sweet Tea Party. And I have always thought when I saw this particular artwork that you see Black people in a state of release. You see Black people in a state of exhale. What did you all think overall? And I know we keep reiterating this, and it's for a reason, that this will mean to us in the future. Will we look at this as okay, that was fun? And is it a mistake to, as we tend to do, to just, oh, that was nice. August 5th was nice. Should this be something that we hold on to near and dear and keep, as they say, I'm going to tell my children about this. How should this be recorded in history for us to recall?
I think we will tell our children about it. And, we'll be like, do you remember what happened in Montgomery, girl? Let me tell you, you do not know. As I put in this story, they didn't think all of their lift every fist and swing was being recorded. See, that was the one thing. It was just audacity. I mean, just audacity. The riverboat captain had been trying to get them to move for 45 minutes. 45 minutes he had been trying to get them to move, and they wouldn't do it. So he was like, let me just do something. And they got upset. But it was just really the pure audacity to say, you know what? It's just one of you, and it's all of us, and we can take you. Sterling Brown has a poem that goes, they don't come by ones, they don't come by twos, they come by tens. That's how they try to come after us. They don't come one-on-one by themselves. They come in groups. And so they felt like they had a group that could take on this one riverboat captain, because typically Black people don't come to the aid of Black people. Not today. It's a whole new day.
And Brother Minister, before we go to break, your comment.
Yes, sir. Repetition is what produces mastery. So the more our people see this, the more our people talk about this, then it allows them to get to relieve themselves of a sense of fear. And it also lets the enemy know that, hey, man, we got a problem on our hands. So I think we should continue to talk about it. Let me say this, what Minister Farrakhan said, if I may.
Yes, sir.
The minister said this. He said, God is love. And out of that love, God gave to each one of us the gift of life. So you are alive today because of the gift of God. But in order to prove God's love for you, he has to show you how to handle the life that he gave you, and then how to protect that life from any enemy against that life. So the more we talk about this, then it is putting something in our children to let them know, don't allow no one to disrespect you or threaten that life.
Listen,
there's been something inherently put in us to believe that white lives are more precious and more valuable than Black lives. So we will turn the other cheek, we will run, and even go to death if white people did us like this. Not today.
Listen.
There's a new mind brewing in the Black man and woman. I'll close with this. When you saw the young brother swim across the water to help his brother, this killed the fact that people thought that Black old and Black young couldn't stand together, or there's a disconnection. This brother didn't know our brother being harmed, but his love for our brother caused him to challenge the water, even put his own life in jeopardy to save his brother. So the young and the old, we've made the connection. So no more of that.
Come on.
So I stand with our brothers, Aquaman.
Come on.
They called him Aquaman.
That's right, Aquaman.
We with him, and we have to protect his life.
That's
and
right.
We have to grow his life so that he'll understand what he did etched him into the history of our people. It's not Paul Revere riding through, it's Aquaman.
You're tuned into the Rockwell Radio Show, ladies and gentlemen. When we come back, we're going to take a look at how mainstream, aka white media, handled this. Were they silent? What did they say? And also, we're going to look at some critique that I received on my Facebook page about even doing this show today. That much more coming up next, right after this.
Wow.
What up with it, man? You already know what time it is. It's me, Young Kinda Don. I'm up in this thing.
Peace. This is Aziz Shakir Kareem, the Life Giving MC. Peace, everyone. This is Brother Anthony K. Muhammad, also known as A-Tone, the hip-hop historian.
Peace, family. What's going on? It's Brother Jabril, Brother Mustafa, Lordship Productions in the building.
I am your sister, Arian Nicole. Peace, peace, peace. It's your sister, Sue Axel. You're watching the Rockwell Radio Show. You are now tuned in live to the Rockwell Radio Show. Right now, you're listening to Rockwell Radio Show.
Rockwell Radio. If you ain't listening, man, you wasting time. You on all these other stations, you need to tap in. Rockwell Radio.
You know what it is. Watch him, watch him, watch him.
I'm here with Brother Rockwell, the Rockwell Radio Show.
If you ain't in the game, you in the stand. Stop playing, man. Let's go.
Worldwide, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Download the Final Call Radio app and take us everywhere. On your phone, on your computer, on your tablet, on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. You can also log on to finalcall.com and click the Listen Live button or finalcallradio.com. Final Call Radio, the official voice of the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan and the Nation of Islam.
Assalamu alaikum. This is your brother, Nuri Muhammad. And whenever I'm searching for a source or a platform that I can get some news that I can use, I look forward to and look at, watch and listen to the Rockwell Radio Show. And I hope you would do the same. Tap in with Brother Vaughn, DJ Rockwell, and this great platform if you want to be inspired, enlightened, informed, uplifted, and properly prepared to perform in the world we live in. Rock with the Rockwell Radio Show. Peace.
Ladies and gentlemen, brothers and sisters, we are back. This is the Rockwell Radio Show. This is your brother, DJ Rockwell, the nation's #1 DJ. Don't let the suit fool y'all. Come on, this is strictly where the hip-hop lives, right here on the Rockwell Radio Show. And with us tonight is our dear sister, the author of the great cover story that you are reading this week on The Final Call, the founder of the Ramadan prayer line, Nisa, Islam, Muhammad, is in the house. And all the way down in Montgomery, Alabama, the newest mosque in the nation, the representative of the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan in the great city of Montgomery, Alabama, with us tonight is our brother, Student Minister Shakir Muhammad. Welcome back to round two.
Yes, sir.
Let's get into media. Sister Nisa, what did you notice, if anything at all, about the way how mainstream media handled this event versus how the Final Call would cover it, for example?
So I think, the one of the main differences was really how they really tried to give balance to both sides and what was happening, what happened with these people, and what happened with the people that were involved in the fight. And perhaps we didn't really know everything that was going on. And so before people make a judgment, wait till all the evidence is presented so people could really see. Well, there's always a backstory to what we see in these videos. There's always a backstory. So people, rush to judgment. Let's just wait till all the information is in and let's really see what happened. When, if you saw the videos, you kind of know what happened because the videos were really from a lot of different perspectives and a lot of different, so many different shots, so many different perspectives that, actually showed us, exactly what was going on. So we saw videos from people up top of the boat. We saw people from across the river showing the brothers swimming. We just saw a lot of different perspectives. And so, but the media was like, just don't rush to judgment. Let's just kind of wait and see, what's really going on.
Let me tack on a question to that, on that note. I want to speak quickly to the power of social media. Do you think this story would have been what it is without social media?
Absolutely not. No, social media elevated this story to the international value that it was because social media, we had, like I said, we had people's videos, short videos, long videos from every perspective. We saw people up high, we saw people low, we saw people across the river. We saw so many different views, and I kept trying to go on social media, okay, let me see another perspective, let me see something else. What did I miss? What about this? What about that? And social media, it's not even so much social media, but people's willingness to record the truth, people's willingness to document what happens and then, give it to the world. The same thing with the George Floyd story. George Floyd's, murderers would not have been seen as murderers had someone not been recording it.
Right.
But people were brave enough to say, let me get my phone, let me get my camera and record it. That was just the bravery of the moment that they just said, I got to document this because this is unbelievable.
Right. Brother Minister, I want to come back to you for a moment because in the Final Call news story, you were quoted and you talked about the rise of what the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan called for, the 10,000 Fearless. And if any takeaway can be made with what happened on August 5th, is that we are now beginning to see fear melt away from Black people. Fear of how do we justify? I guess it's going to be a two-part question. How do we describe or justify this fear of white people in 2023? And what is the job and mission of the 10,000 Fearless?
I'll first say this. I don't think Blacks have been really afraid of white people. We've just been afraid of the consequences of retaliation. And now we see that the retaliation, now we can do that. And if it's justified, then it is what it is, and I look at that situation like this before I say about the 10,000 Fearless. When you look at the overall mindset of the social media and media period, when you go back to the scripture, Pharaoh, when he desired to cause a gap or a disconnect between Moses and the children, he said that all my musicians, y'all come in, and I need you all to turn the narrative and make the people believe that it's Moses is the reason why I am making you to make brick without straw.
Right.
So they spin the situation around. Moses was a representative of God, but the media spent it around and made Moses appear as the bad guy. So it is today. When you see the media, they made it appear as though the brother who was attacked was somehow at fault. They tried to make it appear, well, it's violence. I don't condone violence. You heard people taking this position. I don't condone violence. Well, the brother wasn't violent. He was protecting his life.
Listen,
The minister just told us that God gave us this life as a gift. We should protect it. Now, I think what this will do for future references, it will cause white people to be more lethal. Let me say that again.
Listen closely.
White people to be more lethal in their pursuits now. And the chances that they would have taken, they won't take those chances again. Normally in the past, when we saw mob attacks, it was white on black. And the story read, white mob goes into jail and takes a black man who was suspected of doing something and killed him. Nothing else was said. So it takes black people that we need to be more cognizant of our surroundings. We need to not travel by ourselves, and we need to study the teachings of the most honorable Elijah Muhammad that's being represented by the Honorable Louis Farrakhan. We need to support black causes so that we can understand the value of each other. But if we think that this is not going to have a repercussion, then we're not thinking at all. So the media is going to push it like that, as if the brothers, did something wrong for fighting back. And it's going to make black folk think that we shouldn't have done that.
Listen.
The children, our young brothers and sisters, they don't believe like that. So I say all that to say this. I don't think we've been afraid of white folk. We were afraid of the consequences. Now the jig is up.
How about that? Listen up. Matter of fact, I was going to save this. And let me stop to re-pitch where we are and who we're with. This is DJ Rockwell, and you're tuned into the Rockwell Radio Show. We're here every weekend. You can now catch us on the Closing the Gap Broadcast Network. And we're so grateful and humbled to be there with the CTGB Network family. I was going to save this to close the show with, Brother Minister, but I think what you just said is too perfect of a segue to not play it now. Our dear brother, Student Minister Ishmael, did a beautiful lecture this past Sunday and the Sunday before. And he brought up, of course, the Montgomery melee. And of course, he made the humorous part, but he also added a warning. And I think it's appropriate to add that part. Let's watch this brief clip of Student Minister Ishmael.
Baby, everybody came out. But white people are looking at it. Now we're rejoicing. Woo! But the enemy, they don't like it. Every time we stand for ourselves and what's right, you got to know this only incites and fuels the hatred of the enemy for us. And this is why, brothers and sisters, in a time of such great hostility and hatred in the country for us, don't flaunt your blackness. Don't act as though you are all that. You are. But the way of God is to always carry yourself in humility. Don't push it in their faces, because all it's going to do is trigger a negative response. Does that make sense? But by all means, when any brother or sister is attacked, our duty, our responsibility is to stand and defend our brother and our sister.
Absolutely. All praise is due to Allah. That's right. Absolutely.
That's our brother, Student Minister Ishmael Muhammad in Chicago headquarters. I want to ask in relation to what our dear brother minister shared. He expressed a sense of being careful. The first thing I thought after I heard him say that this past Sunday was there's a difference between winning a battle and winning a war.
That's right.
Someone can say that was a victory of a battle, but we still have a far way to go to win a war. In light of what he just shared, how should we conduct ourselves going forward as it relates to this event and others that may come behind it? I want to, for both of you, by the way, please.
I'll say this quickly. I think our women should not be out at a certain time at night. Number one, I think when our people, brothers are together, they should have someone with them or have the ability to get in contact. I think we should not be out, clubbing and in, areas where we can easily be hurt and no one know. And we should always let our people, our family know where we're going, and if we leave that spot, we should let them know we left, because again, it's too easy to abduct a brother and no one knows because we're not as close as we should be. And so I think this should bring us closer. I think it should make us understand the value of each other. And I think it should help us be more cognizant of our surroundings, whether we're in Walmart, or whether we just out and about in the park. I think we should be more cognizant of what's going on.
Sister Nisa, your thoughts?
I totally agree. History has showed us that whenever we feel like we have a victory, white people go to great extents to let us know it's not a victory. After the Civil War and during the period of Reconstruction, more Black people were elected to government than ever before. But soon after that, they got rid of all them to let us know, no, you are not about that. This is what's going on. And
right.
So we just have to look at history to say, be careful, because when we think we have a victory, they try to swipe it away as quickly as possible.
Absolutely. Brothers and sisters, ladies and gentlemen, you are tuned in to the Rockwell Radio Show with us. Sister Nisa Islam Muhammad with us. Brother Minister Shakir Muhammad. We're here every weekend. Don't miss it. Go ahead and subscribe. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, and make sure you turn on those notifications so you can get a heads up when we're live, like right about now. We're coming to the end of this conversation. And I want to point out something that was shared with me on my page. Apparently now the Rockwell Radio Show is beginning to catch the eyes of our Caucasian listeners. And you are familiar with this phrase that we call clout chasing, and I was accused of clout chasing and chasing clicks by having this dialogue with you all tonight. And I just want to read an excerpt of what this person wrote. And I invited them to watch because I told him that I was going to share his comment and have you all respond. Listen to what this person said. People will do anything to get views on the internet. Shaking my head, SMH. That fight didn't have anything to do with race. It was just a bunch of drunk hillbillies who attacked a security guard that just happened to be Black. Let's pause right there. What is our response to that assertion that race had nothing to do with the Alabama brawl?
Well, I would just say I looked at several different videos. I did not see any white people coming to the aid of the riverboat captain.
Stop right there.
I mean, this is just fact. I did not see, and there are white people in the area. I did not see them come to the aid of the riverboat captain. So while this writer could think, well, this is just not a race issue, but it really was. We didn't see white people coming to his aid. We didn't see Black people going to the aid of the white people. I mean, so things were just divided clearly down the lines of Black and white.
Brother Minister?
Yes, sir. Well, if it wasn't race, why did they attack him? He was in authority. He asked politely for over almost 45 minutes to move your boat. You're in an unauthorized area. Now, had he been a white person, would that have been the same response? of those who attacked the brother. So if I'm talking to you, what makes you think that you can jump on me?
Listen to that.
I'm talking to you. I have not shown any aggression. I've not brandished any type of weapon. But what goes in your mind to make you? No, I know what the problem was. You thought that a black man should not be giving you an authority. A black man should not be telling you what to do. So your nature came up. You just used the alcohol, I guess, to set it up. But again, you didn't think it would go that far. So yes, it was racial, because I know that some racial words were being said from people that talked to me and told me about it. They were calling the brother N-word and so on. So yeah.
Okay, I'll add one more question.
Was it clout chasing when George Floyd was on the ground begging for his life and the people was recording that? Was that clout chasing? Was it clout chasing in 1955 when Emmett Till was slaughtered, a little boy? Was that clout chasing? Come on now. If the media was not there, i.e. the cell phone, then we would not have known this. So it's not clout chasing. It's God showing you your dirty hand.
Listen now.
And the world saw that. And you had no justified reason to attack that brother. That's why you got what you got.
Before we close, another thing my producer wanted me to mention. I was on the fence, and I decided to err with caution, on the side of caution. There is a very viral video floating around, in fact, two of them, of two brothers talking about how this video impacted them emotionally. I mean, two hardcore brothers, goals, just hard brothers making a video talking about, almost in tears about what they saw. One brother told a story, and the reason I didn't play it because it was laced with profanity from top to bottom. I just couldn't play that in front of the sisters. I couldn't do it. So I think Brother Minister Jameer would be happy that I chose not to, to play that video with our dear sisters present, or my brother for that matter. I respect your ears. But it was so powerful to hear their testimonies about looking at this event in tears and moved by, man, we really can come together. Here's one of the last two questions I'll ask. And on that note, another thing that I saw as I looked at the white talking heads across social media saying, you all are just celebrating violence. Why are you all so jubilant? You're just celebrating violence. What is your response to that claim?
So I think America has always celebrated the violence it has done on other people. And, people from the Revolutionary War to all the wars America has been in, America celebrates violence when she is the perpetrator. But when you are the victim of America's violence, you can't celebrate that. And when you respond to America's violence, you cannot celebrate that. And so it's a hypocrisy, because America has always celebrated her violence against everybody she has slayed and gone to war with, from the Indians to Vietnam to World War I, World War II, all of the wars, Iraqi war, all of the wars, America has celebrated the violence that she has perpetrated. And some people are still recovering from America's violence. But if you are the victim of it and you respond, you can't celebrate that.
Brother Minister, your thought?
Yes, sir. America's national anthem is violence.
Listen.
Do you think the Indians saying that America was not violent? You think black folk who were brought over in 1555 were not treated violent? America is built on violence. You think the people who are being plotted on right at this very moment, don't believe America is violent? No, America, like Sister Nisa said, America plays, cries wolf when the shoe is on the other foot. But they said they're going to send a bomb and send shock and awe on Saddam Hussein. Was
That's
that
right.
violent? They didn't ask them to turn the other cheek, did they?
Listen.
So America has been the biggest bully on the planet. And the persons, and I say this, those brothers who were crying, the hardcore brothers, they were crying because they grew up with their grandparents being beat. They were crying because they were told that don't disrespect these white folk, boy, they'll kill you. Now they see It's a new day and time, and their prayers now are being answered through our young brothers and sisters. So now, man, we are not being violent. We're protecting the life that God gave us.
You know, something really quick. You know, our ancestors prayed for that day. They prayed for that Montgomery melee. They prayed to see Black people stand up and fight back, but also to be united in a fight. These people, they didn't know one another from Adam, but Black people prayed for the opportunity to defend themselves and to come into unity with other Black people in that defense.
That's right.
Brothers and sisters, you just watched another episode of the Rockwell Radio Show. My guest, the author of that great piece, current of the Final Call. Dave, put that Final Call up real quick. You can get this on the corner wherever you are. Pick up the latest edition of the Final Call with the title "Momentum After Montgomery." Like Killer Mike said, it shouldn't be a brother with a final call nowhere in the streets.
That's right. That's right. Absolutely.
You pick up that Final Call everywhere you see it. And lastly, our brother with us out of Montgomery, Alabama, Minister Shakir, we thank you. We thank you. We thank you.
Thank you.
We are now at the end, and as I tend to do, I love to give my guests closing thoughts, closing words. I'll start with our dear sister Nisa, and then close with Brother Minister Shakir.
I just want to thank you for the honor of being a part of this show, and I look forward to, working with you again. Inshallah. Thank you so much.
The honor is all mine, sister. Honor to meet you. My goodness, honor to have you. Oh, wow. I mean, this is really a wow moment for me, for both of you. Brother Minister Shakir, you have the closing words, sir.
Thank you again, dear brother, for this wonderful opportunity. And we pray that everybody hear what you are putting out and support the Rockwell Radio Show. And if you are in Montgomery, be at the Mosque this Sunday, 18 Perry Court. Yes, sir. And we'll further talk about this situation. 18
Say the address one more time, brother. Say it again.
18 Perry Court, Montgomery, Alabama. If you're in Montgomery or surrounding cities, you are welcome, and the doors are open for you. Thank you, Brother Vaughn, for this wonderful opportunity. Thank you, Sister Nisa, for your great work, and thank you for the article.
There it is. Come on now. There it is.
And we'll thank the Honorable Louis Farrakhan for standing up for all of us. And I'm gonna say, let me close one more. I want to thank our regional, our regional minister, Minister Abdul Sharif, for the opportunity to help in the southern region. Thank you.
Before you go, you made it a point in our pre-show thoughts. You wanted to shout out the believers who helped you, and I don't want to let you leave without doing that.
Yes, sir. Well, I got a few with me right here. My mother, raise your hand there. Sister Sarah Muhammad, my beautiful wife, Sister Kelsey Muhammad. There's somebody behind me, Sister Ty Muhammad, Brother Richard. Come on, Brother Richard.
Brother Richard now.
Brother Martin Muhammad. So we thank, and also we want to give a shout out to the brother who's a pioneer here. He's 90 years old. He's not here right now. Brother Minister John Muhammad.
I didn't want us to leave without recognizing every foot soldier, every person that helped establish Islam in Montgomery, Alabama. Before we close again, I say thank you to you both. I say thank you to those who helped make this show possible. My big brother, Jamil Muhammad, and also my big brother, Miko Muhammad. Love you both. Thank you so much. See y'all next week right here on the Rockwell Radio Show. We are out of here.
Now, if you got past all of that, you might as well keep on rocking with us. So come on, everybody, let's go. Let's go. Radio show, y'all. The Rockwell Radio Show. The Rockwell Radio Show, y'all. The Rockwell Radio Show. The Rockwell Radio Show, y'all. The Rockwell Radio Show. The Rockwell Radio Show, y'all. The Rockwell Radio Show. The Rockwell Radio Show. That means you too. Rockwell Radio Show. The Rockwell Radio Show, y'all. The Rockwell Radio Show. The Rockwell Radio Show, y'all. The Rockwell Radio Show. The Rockwell Radio Show, y'all. The Rockwell Radio Show. Come on now, y'all. Yeah. It's a dope episode, man. Come on, man. Top tripping.